Sensational for Cincinnati. Mitch Hildebrand, the hero, and the underdogs have prevailed once again.
I would like to present the USL regular season championship to FC Cincinnati. Congratulations to the players, the staff, and most importantly, the fans on a record-breaking season. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your regular season champions, FC Cincinnati.
In a foot race, Cincinnati plays this across. Vazquez with the finish. Brandon Vazquez gives Cincinnati the 2-1 lead. A late breakdown by Red Bull.
Well, Dylan Nealis gets beaten, and nobody covers the streaking run. Unbelievable.
Real got under that. Oh! What a goal for FC Cincinnati! You couldn't dream that any better. Goal of the tournament. Maybe the history of the tournament. Alvaro Barreal makes it 2-0.
They have done it. Cincinnati, your 2023 Supporters Shield winners. A first trophy in their MLS era, and now they celebrate. Top of the Supporters Shield race since May. They never look back. And now a piece of silverware to show for it.
They've gone for the long-range efforts. My word! That is spectacular! That is a goal to savour for a lifetime! An I was there type goal! Look at Luciano with an iconic strike at TQL Stadium.
CF Montreal just go to sleep when the ball goes. Was whistled dead, and Luciano just takes a peek, looks up, and doesn't even need to touch the ball. And how about this technique? Just absolutely perfect.
Lifted into the penalty area. That's Bauer, and that's Will. That's saved, and that's Surridge, and he still saves it on the line. Look at 60 seconds for Roman Santano.
A double save, and he knows everything about it as well. First the punch, but then he gets back to his line. That is sensational, because he goes low for that first one, but look at him get up again.
Luciano gets the cross away. Bicycle kick! Wow! A top-class finish for Kévin Denkey!
Juninho against Hildebrand.
And Hildebrand has done it again! It is sensational for Cincinnati. Mitch Hildebrand, the hero, and the underdogs have prevailed once again.
I would like to present the USL regular season championship to
The Flying Lion says,
boys, hell is real.
2023 Supporter Shield champs.
So glad that I can be back with people who know that it's a Flying Lion.
It shows how much we all love this club.
Yeah, just a fan of the sport, you know.
I want to play for these fans because these fans are amazing.
In this club, you don't play just for the club, you play for the fans. I'm here for the fans.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. What's going on, guys? Welcome, everyone. Another edition here of the Flying Lion podcast on a week where FC Cincinnati just goes full chaotic in the last several seconds of a match. Once again, just another match for FC Cincinnati, Sam.
Yeah, once again, are we surprised? Are we surprised? I mean, shouldn't be, right? I mean, this team just shows up at the death, multiple times now. This season, win, loss, draw. Ryan, I mean, it doesn't matter anymore. Are we numb to everything? Should we just expect every result?
Can we just play the way we do it in the final seconds, like the whole match? Maybe we'll, win some matches here. But yeah, what a crazy draw out west. Our first time playing San Diego. Before we get to that, we'll briefly kind of hit any leftover thoughts we had from Miami midweek. If you guys missed it, go check out our reaction video to that one. It was a little salty because it was right after the match, but that's okay. But then past that, like I said, we'll hit everything San Diego and what came of that one, some takeaways, storylines. Second part of the episode, obviously our cards again, jersey swaps, some other FC Cincinnati news as we head into a World Cup break, FC Cincinnati with an unfortunate week. And then our last match, we'll do a preview for Orlando City here at the end. Again, the last one before a 2-month break, Sam. So it's going to be an interesting time. But real quickly, match day 13 against Miami, 3-5 loss. That put us at the time 4-5-4 overall. Any big things that stood out from you that we didn't hit from the reaction show, Sam? Just still kind of upset with how that one ended, obviously. But I don't know. I mean, we can, I guess, tear it apart like we did before. But I think there was at least some cool stats that came out of it.
Yeah, a couple cool ones that we didn't mention. Evander recorded his 50th career goal contribution for FC Cincinnati. Once again, he's still third on that milestone list in contributions behind Vazquez and Acosta in club history. So that's cool. And then Kévin Denkey, I mean, his performance in this match was obviously overshadowed by the loss, but once again, tied a career high in assists, matched, well, I guess he had, a goal too, but he had 3 goal contributions with 2 assists and 1 goal, and then matched a career high, like I was about to say, against Tigres, where he had 2 goals and 1 assist. So, I mean, pretty solid match from him. And then you get, I think this match, in the Miami match and then the San Diego match, you get guys surpassing, certain minutes or certain starts, which is really cool. And Miles Robinson in the Miami match surpassed 5,000 career MLS minutes for FC Cincinnati and 15,000 total in the MLS. So just some things to kind of wrap up Miami there.
Yeah, let's put that one behind us. Burn the tape, in the last, 15 minutes of that match, obviously. But we come out of it where, we had Shirilla, was in concussion protocol, was not going to be available against San Diego. So as the team transitioned out of Wednesday, they traveled out west to San Diego, beautiful San Diego, where they ended up getting a 3-3 draw in just, again, if you guys missed it, chaotic fashion. We'll kind of break down the big moments, but led us to be now 4-5-5 overall. Before we kind of hit home the big moments, shout out to Pat Noonan for rocking the homage, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I was I saw it and I was like, oh, hey, look at this, Pat Noonan out here rocking homage, right? I mean, that's what we were all thinking, especially when that FC Cincinnati game started. We was like, oh, hey, we gotta get the gear that Pat Noonan's getting. And I mean,
I almost wore that tonight, but it was a little warm to wear.
Well,
in this weather,
if you're still interested in any of the homage gear, new code, the other one we've filled. Hey, congrats to you guys. We reached 100 uses, which was awesome. But we got a new code for you. So if you do want 15% off of your homage gear, use code AFF15. That's capital AFF15 for 15% off. First time customers only for this one, I believe. So go get the hookup from homage. But yeah, Ryan, I mean, that was the first thing that stood out to me. But as far as the rest of the match, once again, kind of reiterate and set the scene for the preview. If you missed that in the last episode, first match out west in San Diego in club history for FC Cincinnati. I thought this one was interesting, Ryan. FC Cincinnati
first
have
match
won
against them in general too.
Well, yeah, in general, yes. Yeah. But FC Cincinnati have won 3 straight matches in the Pacific time zone. So once again, obviously the pedigree that we carry against the West coming into this, you're like, okay, like we might actually, looking at the Miami result, you're going, okay, well, history may help us here. But some other stats we had before as well.
Yeah, it's funny you said that because, like, in our preview, if you guys watched it, just at the end of the reaction video to Miami, we were not feeling so hot about prediction-wise going into it. But that's okay. Noonan hit his 150th match for FC Cincinnati in this one. Was going to set, if we won, a big mark, which we're going to tweet out as soon as that happens. Hopefully he can do it here soon, because otherwise I think he gets pushed to second in this one that I'm going to lead. A little bit vague on purpose, but Sam, kind of a cool note to this. Evander is facing, or did face, Anders Dreyer, his former teammate, which is pretty cool. With I think it was Magellan that he played with overseas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So pretty cool to see that. It seems like they did the video ahead of time. I don't know if you saw that. The MLS put it out of them like FaceTiming each other.
Call,
and it just seemed to be maybe at a rough time because Evander didn't look obviously as happy because I think the Miami match had just happened. But he was definitely happy to talk to Dreyer, and both of them, I mean, just amazing players, both in the MVP race last year. But after this match, Sam, FC Cincinnati will have played or did play now. In 28 of 29. So we get that coming up next year. I think it's got to be in line, right?
I mean, has to be, especially if we got one more. Come on, MLS schedule. Come on, help us out here. Maybe shortened season, just get it out of the way. However, shortened season, probably less travel. So may not get it for that. You might have to wait until the full 2027 season.
Yeah. Interesting tidnotes there, just to kind of prep you for this crazy match that we had. Lineup, he goes back to left back. I wanted to see a change, after Wednesday, having Ramirez out there. Good moments, some bad moments, but getting some fresh legs out wide. That was interesting to see. Dado moves up to forward, where we had seen him in, years past. Besides playing at the 10, he had been really at a forward. And then we see Anunga slide into the midfield there. Buka stays out wide. But otherwise, the back line with Hagelin, with Miazga, and Robinson. Sam, any thoughts about what we had seen with the starting lineup?
Yeah, I thought this was interesting. Seeing the changes, like you said, Dado up top instead of Kenji the past couple matches. You got the note here. Dado did end up playing kind of more of a 10 next to Evander, not necessarily very high up with Denkey. But yeah, I think the back line is kind of what we would have expected there.
With everyone available, I agree.
Yeah, with everyone available, you're going to go with the guys that you're paying the most money. But yeah, I think you called the Anunga in the midfield, which was nice to see. Especially with Obi continuously getting these yellow cards. Does he add one? He adds one in this one, right?
Three matches in a row, yeah. I think.
So
all his sub appearances too.
Yeah, exactly. So that was funny, but yeah, I mean, a little bit of the same, but you see obviously the rotation. Kenji on the left wing is interesting instead of moving a guy like Buka, who, what was it? Was that last season that he made a start at left wing back instead of right at one point? Or
I think he might have subbed out there. Everyone is saying that Kenji's kind of become our Kubo guy, being a forward.
I would argue Buka's more of...
I think Buka, could be put in the same category. He kind of can play anywhere, and Gidi, I would imagine be able to play a lot of places too. But yeah, I think going from midweek to this one, you saw kind of early on, Sam, the tired legs. Obviously, we're on shorter rest. We're traveling out west. We're not sure how the guys are going to look this way. But yeah, I think within 10 minutes, though, after they had kind of controlled part of the match, we started to put some good plays together, and we ended up getting a goal.
Yeah, I mean, once again, they kind of controlled the 10 minutes, and you're going, oh boy, like we'll see what happens here. Pat Noonan did come out and say, hey, San Diego's one of those teams that wants to retain possession. So are we going to try and retain possession as well, or are we going to try and adapt and get them on the counter press and just try and do it that way? And that's exactly what happened. We were able to break their press, which was a little shaky at the beginning. And I honestly, in this goal by Evander, I think the key play is Dado going to the ball rather than sitting back, because he chests it down to Evander. He could have easily just stayed in his spot and gone,
yeah,
Matt, why didn't you just pass it straight to me? However, Dado goes and gets the ball and is able to chest that down to Evander. Evander, I mean, beautiful ball up to Kenji, and even better finish from Kenji to be able to do that with some pressure, especially, goalkeeper coming out a little bit and slots it away. I mean, you're going, man, hey, 11th minute, we scored first this time. Let's go.
Well, and I think it's a guy that's playing with a lot of confidence. And Kenji, he had been rewarded with some good performances at forward, and he's kind of at a point now where you're like, hey, you can't take this guy off the pitch, and we want to maybe get a different look out wide. Let's slot him on the left. And what does he do? He scores right away. So I think that shows you how you're rewarding players now and gaining in their confidence with Dado, with Kenji, with these younger guys that might need a little bit of that encouragement. And you see him just confidently, like you said, take it in and slot it by the keeper. Like he's been doing that 1,000 times. I think that's pretty cool to see. What a ball again by Evander, like you said. In the Dado play is underrated in it, but you're absolutely right. It didn't look like we were really phased by, the midweek. After the first 10 minutes, we were like, hey, we're out here. We're putting this behind us. Let's go ball. And to go up 1-0, you still feel good about it. But honestly, with this team, Sam, like I told the people I was watching with, I said, but watch, this team all season long has given up goals so fast, after we score. And so what is the next 15 minutes going to look like? I was pretty spot on part of it, but we almost had a second goal. Evander has a golden opportunity that the keeper just makes an unbelievable save on. So props to him for that. Like a one-handed, down to his left that Evander probably 9 out of 10 times slots that away. Yeah. But great save by him. On the flip side, they have a breakaway. Everyone thought the guy was offside. Roman with just a little punch save over the bar, one-on-one with Dreyer. Just an unbelievable one-on-one save. I called at the beginning of the season, are we going to see a Roman Celentano, save of the year again? And that was arguably pretty solid there just to put it over. It kept it 1-0 at the time. But 3 minutes later, they decided to give up a goal because that's what this team does this year.
No, yeah, this one specifically, I can see that the midfield was way out of position. This one, you see our two midfielders in Gideon and Nunga that aren't even close to the guys in the box. And unfortunately for Robinson and Miazga as your two, middle center backs at the time, right? Whoever is in the box, they were responsible for 3 guys. So now it's a 3-on-2. And I mean, you can only do so much with the space, right? You can only close it out as quickly as possible. I think Kenji on the left wing back was a little late, so Miles wasn't able to rotate over and help in the middle where he needed. And so you get a good, solid team goal from San Diego there, and it's 1-1.
It was a fast counter, and I think to your point, I think Robinson and Miazga dropped back into the 6, expecting Anunga to come in and pick up the guy who's rushing into the box. And again, we're late on that defensive side. We've seen it a little bit with the midfielders at times where they're caught out of position, like you're talking about. And yeah, it was a nice finish. I don't know if Roman could do better with it. It just seemed like it just came so fast. He wasn't maybe expecting it. He could have maybe gotten a touch on it, but yeah, it's all of a sudden, 1-1 again. And you're thinking like, here we go. It's going to just be
floodgates.
I thought this whole game, Sam, I was thinking about making the title like punch and counter punch. Like it was legitimately like every single time we did something, they did something, or vice versa, So it was like, well, what can you do? I'm going to do this better. So fortunately, I guess we didn't get scored on, again in that first half. Evander has a nice free kick chance saved by the keeper. That was a pretty decent opportunity for him. That was the big chance coming right out of half. And then Barlow gets a tap-in goal to put us up 2-1 on Evander, puts the ball in a great spot. I think, his corners lately or free kicks have had a lot, honestly been deadly. But the keeper just makes a mistake. He comes out, tries to get anything on it, completely whiffs. And Barlow, right place, right time, just easy tap in for him.
Oh yeah, just falls right to his feet. I don't even know if he expected the ball to be right there. But Ryan, I immediately had to go find this stat because it felt like you and I were so high on Barlow, especially his work rate, what he had been doing in the MLS, and the chances he was able to help not only himself create, but also working up top with Denkey. You would have thought that he would have earned more minutes, as of recent. And I had to go back and look. The past 2 matches before this San Diego match, Barlow had only played 6 minutes. He gets his 3rd MLS goal at half, right? Or after 5 minutes, right? Of coming on at half. So it just takes 1 less minute than you've been playing the past 2 matches in order to get a goal. And you see, obviously, later on, he gets another one. But yeah, it was pretty impressive. Hey, now we're up 2-1. Are we going to be able to hold it? No, we were not.
Immediately, like not even okay, it wasn't immediate, but
it always feels like it though.
16 minutes later, another play where just individuals just making mistakes, too much time. I think to let this guy just whip this ball all the way through the midfield. There's nobody there to kind of even shield the defense. Let's call it what it is. The guy takes a great first touch, on San Diego. So I will give him props on that because that ball was threaded, but Nick just gets completely turned and beat, one-on-one, and the guy just slots it away. So again, 2-2, and you're thinking like, again, here we go. How many goals is it going to be? Is it going to be another one? And I just felt like San Diego controlled the match after that point. What I don't think we had put in our rundown here, but I'll shout it out, was the fact that, Miles Robinson can only go 45 minutes in this one.
Yeah.
And I think that's super unfortunate for a team that's already been plagued by suspensions, injuries, having Shrill out in this one. So, we had to bring in Kyle Smith, Sam. And not that necessarily he did anything bad to create these, but it's, again, just rotation in the back line that you have to deal with. At one point, Guidi goes back to the back line as well at center back. So I just don't even know what to say about the back line. It's just in shambles, honestly. And they're just letting goals in so easily. Some of them are fluky. Like we'll talk about, the 90th plus 6 minute goal is all on Evander. It's legitimately all on Evander. We're on a counterattack. We have 4v3 probably at the time. And he decides to try to whip a ball to the other side, which Buka was wide open, by the way. Completely mishits it, leads us to, be vulnerable to the counter, and they punish us like fast. Turn around, play the ball through. And this guy that's in form, in Varsson, I think it was, just punishes, Miazga being out of position, number one, but Hagelin kind of late too. So,
Kyle Smith.
Kyle Smith, sorry. Yeah. So, again, it's kind of on the defense for that, but I don't think they really expected a counter to come so quickly.
Well, especially I'm
praying for Evander.
Yeah, you're either expecting you're expecting them to finish the counter or the whistle to blow, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time,
last
like
play of the game essentially is what we would have thought at the time.
Yeah.
Like Evander, just literally play it anywhere but to them, and it leads to that. And a lot of you probably turn off the TV, at that point, and click, well, there's another brutal loss. Like I think Sam had his tweet, ready to send out about the match, like another brutal loss, in the last minute. And then chaos ensues. I mean, what a finish. So we go back to the center strike. Everyone in San Diego is going berserk. We play the ball back to Miazga, plays it out wide to Guidi. Guidi plays a ball after a pause, mind you, to let the strikers go all the way up. Denkey gets subbed out at this point, so it's Jabari up there. Guidi into the box. Perfect header, let's be honest, by Jabari. Let's give him props for that. Right down to Barlow for the finish. And I think the Apple commentators had probably one of the better calls I've heard of the MLS goals in a while. Just like, oh my gosh, did that just happen? And I can't imagine being in the stadium. I know there was 20 some odd FC Cincinnati supporters there, just like going berserk, I would imagine, because that was insane.
Jabari to have the physicality to bring that thing down. If you look, the angle where Guidi is just searching for a pass, right? He had just gotten the ball and he's kind of like, all right, like I got to throw it up there at some point. Jabari is ready. He is boxing out his man so easily. He's just backing down.
Head it that direction with the dreads, mind you, too.
Yeah.
And like perfectly places it.
Well, it's once again, like you said, like not only to head it down in that direction, but the pace that you have to have on the ball, right, in order to land perfectly to Barlow, so it's not bouncing too much. Yeah, I mean,
he was getting pulled down. Like it was a fairy tale moment. Like I think everyone, a person just tuning into the match would just be like, "Oh, this one's totally done." They whip it up. You're like, "Oh, we'll see what happens." Goal right away. I mean, just unbelievable. We've done it multiple times now this season. I think we could go back and count the countless moments at the very end. Sam's, I think, got a stat for it here. Maybe I didn't make it that far in the outline. But yeah, it's insane. Stat wise, now this puts us in 9th in that last playoff spot. So we kind of slid from that 5th spot that we were up to after the Chicago win, but still in a position where, hey, I don't think we're too far off of some of the pace of the people ahead of us. If I kind of go and real quickly look at it, I think we're sitting on, 17 points. DC is in 8th with 17, Charlotte 18, New York Red Bulls 19, New York City 19. So, I mean, we're a 1 win away from going up to arguably 4th or 5th place, assuming that the other teams, have bad results too. But you're still kind of sitting in a spot where you're not firing your manager. I think that's where we're starting to see that come out. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, but we're just dangerous enough. But man, does it look bad at times. Man, does it look really good at times. It's just chaos all around. So some match stats for you, Sam, if you want to load these graphics. I wanted to kind of highlight first here defensively what we're looking at in this past match. Like Sam touched on, San Diego was very, very ball heavy and possession based. So shout out to MLS Analytics for getting us these again. Look at, if you guys are watching, we're sitting at 33.66 meters as the first point of defensive actions versus, for San Diego, 48 meters away from goal. So our back line has dropped so deep just because we were taking line after line. I really wish someone would command the back line to kind of push forward. But at the same token, I'm worried that, Hags and Miazga are going one-on-one with guys if they play balls behind. So I can see why they maybe drop the line more. Sam, if you have the other one, if you guys look at this, if you're watching, the field tilt is insane. San Diego had a field tilt of 92 versus R8. So, I mean, they had the full field that they at their disposal, and we were literally like bunkered in at time. If you look at the top left of this, passes into the final third is just completely off to the sides, but all dominant versus ours on the right. There's maybe 10, passes into the final third. It's kind of crazy to see just how ball dominant they were. So to kind of prove that, Sam, San Diego had, I believe, an insane amount of possession here. FC Cincinnati had 37%, which is the lowest of any competition we've had this season. And somehow we still had 2.25 expected goals. So we made, with the chance as well, and came out with 3 goals somehow. But I texted you this, my final stat about this match, and then I'll let you go on to yours. Denkey had 22 touches in 90 minutes, Sam. Dotto had 21 in 45 minutes. We're not getting Kévin Denkey on the ball. We need him to be on the ball and dangerous. Isn't that crazy?
That is a crazy. All those are crazy stats. I mean, you once again, FC Cincinnati has always prided themselves on being very possession based and really trying to see that right moment out, especially in the Pat Noonan era. Being efficient has been nice to see, but like you said, your striker only get 22 touches in a total of 90 minutes is kind of crazy, especially when you see the way he played against Miami, right? He was phenomenal in hold-up play, and I don't know why you wouldn't want to try and replicate that. Obviously, different players, different scheme, but
he looked gassed in this one. Like, I think he was definitely very tired.
Yeah, it takes a toll on you, especially midweek.
He got nailed on Wednesday. But I think there's got to be a better way to find him in dangerous spots.
Yeah, exactly. And if that's more of a poacher role, right, and getting him in the 6, like
Sam, hear me out on this. Sorry to interrupt you, but like even more to our point of like, I think a physical body up there would have been better in this match to offload Denkey, so he doesn't be that sole guy. Because clearly Dotto's not going to be the hold up guy in this one. If you had a Jabari, if you had a Barlow, like maybe we would have had a little bit more chance to get, Kévin in dangerous positions. He didn't have to work as hard, potentially up there, kind of shield him. Hey, Kévin, I know you're feeling good to play 90 or as close as you can, but like clearly you're going to be gassed. Like, give me what you got. We're going to put somebody next to you to kind of offload it. That means maybe Dotto's in a deeper position then or somewhere else, on the field. But just interesting that I wanted to point out. Sam, any other big stats that came out of this one?
Yeah, Tom Barlow's goal in the 90 plus eighth minute, latest equalizer in an MLS regular season match in club history. So obviously excluding all the game. I think Lucho's like 10-minute one was maybe the most game winner, right? In FC Cincinnati history for equalizers. This was the latest one. And then, like I said earlier, you get a lot of guys in this match for appearances and starts. Matt Miazga became the 14th FCC player to make 100 appearances for the club. Evander gets his 100th MLS appearance, and then Nick Hagglund makes his 200th MLS career start. So the guy's been around for a minute there.
Just like all of the like 100 and 200 ones, like all at the same time is crazy.
Yeah.
Like if you ever have seen, like a lot of clubs will give you like the 100 game ball, or like for the U.S. men's national team, they'll give you like signed by, everyone that was there or whatever. They had to give away a lot of balls if that's what we're doing. But Sam, post-match comments, again, shout out to our local reporters for getting all of these for us. But what did Pat have to say after this one?
Yeah, obviously he's just like us. He's kind of numb to it at this point. He said that the way the game plays out, that seems to be the norm right now for our group. A lot of highs and a lot of lows. And he said, I thought for long stretches there was some good defensive work by our guys, but a lot of demand against a team that is strong as San Diego. And so once again, trying to find solutions to control the tempo. But he said, yeah, the end of the game is chaos, and the turnover that leads to the goal, he certainly, can see out the game in a better way. But I mean, you get a point on the road, and that's that. But he also, he touched on the play specifically, Jabari's play to Barlow. He said it wasn't just the challenge, it was the positioning. Like we talked about, him being able to control and lay off the ball to Tom was really impressive. And the ability to kind of work in tandem, those two. And then on top of that, he says that, I anticipated we weren't going to win a possession battle tonight. So once again, kind of saying what we said earlier, and that was pick your poison, right? Do you try and play your possession game that you always play, or do you try and find a way to win on the road different than what you normally do? And you kind of let San Diego play their way, and you counter it. And so it seemed to work, a majority of the night. Obviously they get the goal late, and then we have to get one as well. But for the most part, I don't think it was terrible to be on the counter there.
Yeah, well said. I think, as we go back to the talk of this, I think it was interesting that he says, the adrenaline, the emotion, I can't imagine being a player and getting scored on with what you think is the last play of the game, away from home, just lost a demoralizing Wednesday night game, and you get kind of punched in the mouth again last second. What's the resolve, Sam? So the guys go to the center circle, and they're like, well, how are we going to respond to this, right? And what does Jabari and Barlow do? They put their head down and go right into the goal and say, hey, we're going to make this right. And I think they were all, like, if you looked at them, they were all pissed off. Like, I think clearly, like, even when Barlow scored, like, he was just mad that he even had to score. I think honestly is what it was.
That's like calling for the ball, like the last shot of the game. Just give me the effing ball. Just give me the ball. Yeah.
Give me the rock. But like, I think for them to even, you could have just pinged it around the back line, but to have the wherewithal to play that into the box, to get the guys in the position, again, it's just incredible. And the emotion, just even the way that Wednesday to Saturday that's set up, I think that's just crazy. So yeah, interesting to kind of hear from Pat Noonan, about that. But Sam, big takeaways that you had from this one.
Yeah, I mean, takeaway for me, once again, same story again for FC Cincinnati, unreal attacking moments, but zero control once the game kind of gets chaotic defensively. Dotto underneath Denkey, I think once again, Dotto continues to look good, centrally and trying to find his identity, in this squad as well. Thought the setup worked decently. Love what Kenji continues to bring to the offense, even if it is from a left wing back position. I think, we had seen Ramirez, try and bring something offensively. Kenji shows that, hey, I can actually do it better than you at your own position. And so once again, Tom Barlow turning into a super sub. Love to see that. Think he's a workhorse, deserves more minutes, and, gets the brace in this one.
Yeah, well said. I think, The second half brace for him was solid. And like you said, the super sub, we had seen some people kind of float out there, our super subs in the striker position lately. If you want to talk about Baji, talk about Santos, you talk about now Barlow, even Corey Baird last year. Like, you got to put Barlow's name up there now that he's putting in these goals. Like, the production on the season, I'll touch on it here in a bit, has just been phenomenal for the minutes that he's been in. So props to him for that. And that's part of my takeaway, is just getting the best out of those players and understanding that even if we're down, we're going to find an equalizer, is really what they decided, again. For me, another big takeaway is, like, no one's really said it a lot, but I think Gilberto Flores' time in FC Cincinnati is done, Sam. He, again, does not find time to even get into the back line. In this one, Kyle Smith jumps him, once again for this. Another thought, again, just is that Kenji has found a way to stay on the pitch. I said that earlier. Dado the same way in any position. And Ender has really lost his spot. Abuka has seized that and really made it his own at right wing back, and we've got a lot out of him. But it is quite bizarre that Ender didn't even find the pitch in this one, Sam. Couldn't even get a minute, out there. Could we have used him for some speed, at times, I think, but what's the trade-off defensively, and where is that right fit for him positionally? I don't know if we have the answer to that right now, unless we push Buka into the middle and put Ender out wide late, but then you lose something defensively, which is what happened against Miami, and that led to all of those goals. So I think it's interesting that that comes out of this. But big storyline, Sam. We can score on anyone, but we just can't control matches, and we just give up bucket loads of goals. So again, hit that over if you're talking about goals. Total per game, you're going to probably get 5 or 6 every single match if you're a betting person. But it's crazy to concede 8 goals in 2 matches in a week. Like, when has that happened in the last few seasons? It hasn't. Conceding 2.5 goals per match has just become like a standard. And at what point, again, do the players just say enough is enough? You can't expect to keep doing this like long term, or can we?
That is the question, especially when you're scoring 2.1 goals per match, right? It's almost evening out. Not quite, but almost in that aspect. I mean, not being able to control those games, like you said, every time that we are, especially in this match, we're able to score first, score second, scored third right after. And so it's not allowing that second and fourth goal, right? Can we be the first, third, or at first, second, third, like just stopping runs with our goals instead of theirs. So it's going to be who flips that switch, like you said. Is this the break that flips the switch? Is it personnel, right, that flips the switch? I know we'll talk about it here in a couple minutes, but
Can I just real quickly, I just had a thought about this.
Yeah.
Pat Noonan, obviously, in his teams, they like winning when they win by a goal. And when we lose lately, we've just been getting beat by multiple goals, right? Like this season, it's been several 5-1, 6-1s, different things like that. Well, my quick thought here that I was thinking about is, if we were able to get a second with Evander, would the game have looked different, being up 2-0? If we can put away teams, like, from what you think the scoreline, you'd be able to put a team away, 2-0 or 3-0, would that look different? But this team's just not been set up that way to go and to kill off the game. The offense is really clicking, but can we click in a run and get, that 3-0 lead, and maybe then we concede less?
Well, yeah, the big experiment would have been Charlotte, and we were up 2-0, and
we were up 2, you're right. Yeah.
And give up, 2 goals there in the second half. But once again, that's like, it would be, can we see that in one half, right? I don't know, like, that might be different, it being a whole completely different half, right? You get 2 goals in the first and concede 2 in the second, so maybe it's different to some aspect if we're going to give them, any, anything on that. But I do want to flip it, right? I mean, yes, we concede a lot, but like I said, we're scoring 2.1 goals a match, and this team just does not quit and will continue to not quit. Even since that Montreal game, right? We continue to say, hey, this team does not quit, especially when, Pat Noonan's job was on the line, literally going into that Montreal job and go
Montreal
on.
Game.
Yeah. And so like he was able to go on this unbeaten streak. Yeah. Like it gets stopped midweek by Miami, but you still put up 3 goals, decent showing, throughout the first half of the match, maybe 75 minutes. And then in this one, decent showing as well. I do want to give my stat out there. If you haven't seen it, we put it out right after the match, but Tom Barlow's equalizing goal, 90 plus minute in the, 8th minute of extra time, is the 5th 90 plus minute game tying or game winning goal that FC Cincinnati has had this season. So this team does not die, Ryan. Is that the problem though, that they are willing to live and die by the sword rather than using the sword for defense?
I don't even know, man. They apparently just all of a sudden turn it on when they go down. But apparently they stop playing when they get a lead. I don't know. Yeah, but the resolve is there for sure. And I think the composure again at the end to find the equalizer just shows you that they've been there and they've been able to do it before. I think what a lot of people are saying is like, if we had this same kind of ability to turn things around like this at the end of matches, like how good would we have been a few years ago? Yeah. With the same teams that when we needed a late goal like that or an equalizer, we would have tacked on probably, 9 or 10 points or even in the playoffs just to be able to do that sometimes saves your season. So if we can find our way into the playoffs, does that keep us alive? That having that resolve, I mean, you need that. So we'll see, obviously. But that kind of leads to my next point of, are there going to be some big changes coming, Sam? We have one more match before World Cup break. In my opinion, you probably don't see a ton of personnel changes now or formation or style of play. But I think in the near horizon, obviously, the defense is got to be the biggest thing. Even if we can get it down to 1 goal a game, 1.5 goals a game, I think that would be a win.
I think it's a bigger conversation. Like you said, we got 1 match left and then we'll be able to break all that down for a lot of people, especially, going into this 2-month break that kind of leads into the summer transfer window, which is kind of crazy to have that timing of, 2 months. Chris has the ability to do a whole bunch of scouting just like everybody else does. So we'll see what kind of comes from that. But Ryan, we're going to take a break here. I know we've been kind of heavy on this first segment. And so we're going to run into the trivia of the week presented by Goals TV. Ryan, I've got a doozy for you here. How many goals has FC Cincinnati given up past the 90th minute in all competitions this season? So far, we've been talking about the goals that they've been scoring past the 90th minute, but how many goals have they given up past the 90th minute this season, including in this match, by the way?
This is all MLS or all competitions?
All comps.
5 goals.
5 goals?
That's what I'm locking in.
We'll see what it is on the other side. Stick with us.
Hey, everyone. The Flying Lion Podcast. Hey, everyone. The Flying Lion Podcast is your home for FC Cincinnati coverage as a part of the Chatterbox Sports family. We're proud to be a part of a growing network of creators who are building real connections with fans across the region as the game continues to grow and in preparation for the 2026 FIFA World Cup hosted in America.
Yeah, and if you're a local business or a brand looking to reach an audience that's passionate, loyal, and plugged into the city's sports scene, this is the place.
Partnering with us is not just supporting a podcast. You're joining a community that celebrates FC Cincinnati and various other Cincinnati sports teams as well. So reach out through our email, which is Flying Lion Pod, FLYIN Lion Pod @gmail.com, or direct message us on social media to learn more about sponsorship and partnering options. Thanks again. First time in a while here, we're going to hit some cards of the week first because just a wacky week for FC Cincinnati. So we're gonna start that way. Sam, what did you have?
Yeah, my card of the week is going to be Ender Echinike having no photo on the MLS All-Star ballot. So if you're like me or any FC Cincinnati fan and have been trying to vote for your FC Cincinnati players for the MLS All-Star game, you're going through each position, right? Picking every FC Cincinnati player, right? And you go to the right back position and you see Ender Echinike. He might be the only person that does not have a photo in the right back position. You see, I mean, even Brian Ramirez, new signing, right, this past year for FC Cincinnati, has his picture. I'm pretty sure every other FC Cincinnati player has their picture. Ender Echinike does not have a photo. I don't know how. I mean, we'll touch on it here in literally a couple minutes, but I don't know how this guy is top 5 in right back voting right now for the MLS All-Star game, and you don't even have his photo on the ballot.
Throw in his FIFA photo.
Something. Literally anything. Throw a photo of him from Instagram on there. I don't care.
That's bizarre. I mean, you'd think, but nothing surprised me about the MLS anymore. I mean, let's be honest, Sam. They can't get the Apple TV stuff right, too. So somehow I'm going to blame it on Apple being the problem, not the MLS. But it's probably a combination of both.
Ryan, you've got a lot to choose from for yours. What's your card? Mine was kind of like a soft yellow, but
we could hit some hard ones here. I got plenty of ammunition.
I know.
Future FC Cincinnati player Neymar was playing for Santos over the weekend and had been apparently, this is the craziest thing down in Brazil. The 4th official mistakenly subbed Neymar off, and even Neymar showed the substitution card being somebody else, and they still wouldn't let him back on the pitch. They just wanted him to be off so he could go to Cincinnati. Let's be honest. But he shows the card, and it's just such a memeable moment. I mean, he's holding it up to the camera to show everyone that he's not being subbed off. I just want to go crazy, with the memes and put that on there. It could be anything. I would love to see it. So that's my big one. We also saw a SC Dallas player, after he scores a amazing goal, chug a beer right afterwards. Shout out to Modelo for that. That was an amazing moment. If you guys missed that one, as the fans are throwing down beers on him, he picks one up and just chugs it. I mean, cool moment there. And then your weekly Miami card. So apparently the players and the fans don't get along. Who would have thought, Sam, having a plastic team, that there'd be a disconnect there? But yeah, the Miami supporters groups were quiet for the first 80-something minutes of the match that they had at home because they were upset that their players did not acknowledge them, even in matches where they tied or lost at home. I'd be pissed too. I get it. But even in this one, they win their first match at home in a new stadium. That's the name of their stupid stadium. Messi, Suarez, and Rodrigo de Paul do not go and even clap up the fans. During the match, they do a little wave or whatever. Nothing after the match. They just walk down into the tunnel.
Yeah, I mean, a lot to sort through there, Ryan. A lot of honorable.
I got it all off my chest.
A lot of good cards there. The Neymar one is very funny. Him not being able to come on, I think, is a little ridiculous. But like you said, maybe he's just on his way to FC Cincinnati, and we're just helping him out. But yeah, hey, we already packed your bags for you. The Sam Sarver beer, I think that's hilarious. I mean, he'll probably be fined for that or something if I had to guess.
He's gonna make it up in the money from Modelo.
Oh yeah, immediately. Yeah, if you don't see a video out of him, in the next 2 months, right? Because they have 2 months to shoot a video, with him. That would be amazing. He was talking about how at IU his coach never wanted him to celebrate or something, and so kind of taking it a step further and doing not only the scuba celebration, but right after that, shotgun and a beer. That was not bad. But yeah, as far as the Miami drama, I mean, like you said, plastic team. You see the local guys, clapping up the fans, but those transplants, not doing too much for the community down there.
We don't have a lot to talk about just with, the fact that we lost horribly to them within the week, but I just don't understand. I continue to not understand why their players do not show support, or to acknowledge the fans for the time that they put in. But maybe it goes both ways because let's be honest, the fan base probably won't be around, after, a certain number 10 is gone. So we'll see about that. But on the flip side, Sam, jersey swap, what'd you have this week?
Yeah, jersey swap of the week for me. I'm gonna go Buka for this one. I just think he deserves a shout out. He's been grinding at a position that isn't his true position and playing, more of a right back, right wing back for us, and has been playing really well and holding that position down, obviously, from Ender. And so, he gets the goal against Miami. Nice little tap in, good for him to kind of get in that space. Was nice to see him get a goal there. I believe he joins, maybe 5-6 players in FC Cincinnati history, USL and MLS, with 15 goals and 15 assists. So another club that he gets to join there. But yeah, I think even in this match against San Diego, you see his presence, especially on the ball, being able to contribute that way. I think he was kind of a little lackluster in the San Diego match compared to Miami, if I had to critique it that way. But I'm very curious to see when the next time we're going to see him in the midfield is, because Pat said it was very temporary, but I mean, at this moment right now, it's hard to see how long it'll last.
No, I think he brings so much to the game, both directions, and kind of, obviously solidified, being able to go forward, and defensively, it clearly hasn't made a difference, totally on the defensive side. But I just feel more confident with having him there, and I think he's a really solid fit. Now, if we could even bring in, maybe a solid number 8, Sam, that could really control the match, like maybe what Obi used to, I think that's maybe the next level. So sneak peek to my preview about that, maybe in coming episodes. But yeah, no, I think that's a good shout. He's had a solid season, even going different places on the field.
What was yours?
I had Tom Barlow. So he gets a brace in this one. He's now got, Sam, 7 goals in 18 matches for FC Cincinnati. Talk about production, from your super sub, or a guy that, again, hand up, I thought would only get about 5 goals, on the season. He's already hit 7, the most in his professional career already, which is pretty cool to see, in his time at Red Bull and with Chicago Fire. His best season that he had in the professional ranks was 5 goals in his season, and he's already hit 7 in 18 matches. So shout out to him for just being in the right spot and putting the work in. Because again, I love the hustle that this dude brings.
Well, in the brace, right? He gets team of the match day in this one, up top with the likes of a guy who scored a hat trick this week, and Annie Mukhtar. So, nice to see our guy with 2 goals up there, being able to get the credit that, he obviously he worked hard for. 45 minutes of work, which is crazy. 2 goals in 45 minutes. I think third time in club history. The other 2 times, Jabari Champions Cup against O&M, I believe, and then Kubo with his hat trick last year, 2 years ago.
Okay, I like that. I like that shot there, off the cuff.
Off the cuff.
Tommy 2 goals. That's what his nickname was after this one. But Sam, other FC Cincinnati news. I know you sneaked it a little earlier.
Yeah. So once again, MLS All-Star voting is going on. Go vote for our guys. I think we've got 3 days left, 2 days left whenever you're listening to this. So it'll be open through May 21st. Both Ender Echenike and Evander are favorites, according to Joseph Lowry of the MLSsoccer.com, at their positions. Right now, Ryan, like I said earlier, they're top 5 in voting currently. Not sure really how Ender Echenike is going to get the votes, since he's kind of been replaced by Buka. So that would be kind of wild to see him make the MLS All-Star team. But Evander obviously is in the mix there for center attacking mid, with the likes of the best of them. So hope we can push our guys through.
Yeah, where's Denkey? Just with the,
I was about to say, does Denkey deserve a shout, or who else?
Yeah, I think there's
on the squad.
There's been some killer strikers this year in the likes of Musa and Kuipers, so I think he's going to get overshadowed. And Surridge, yeah, of course. But I mean, Ender, it's hilarious that's kind of where he's at right now, and he's not even, finding the pitch in this last game. But yeah, or a Buka shout just for putting in the work. He's never going to get the love that way, but
No.
I mean, in our hearts, he's a all-star. But Sam, we also heard that everyone is obviously thinking this. Miles Robinson, most likely to represent FC Cincinnati for the World Cup. This was from an article according to Ben Steiner, highest paid center back in the MLS, as we saw, the roster stuff come out recently. Trusted, under Pochettino. Kind of slowed him a little bit this year with injuries. And even in this one, apparently he takes a knock and has to come out at halftime. So we'll see what that looks like. But what's his competition like back there? I think at least making the 26 is definitely doable, but I'm going to be honest, before the way he was playing, I would say he would have been fighting for a starting spot. But as of the last month and a half, there ain't no way this guy is playing. Alex Freeman, pencil him in. Mark McKenzie, pencil him in probably. Tim Ream, probably, pencil him in. But I think Miles is there. I don't think he probably plays a lot, if any minutes.
Yeah, the article on this, Ben Steiner was going through every MLS team and going who's, the most likely player from each team. And yeah, I mean, makes sense for Miles to kind of be that guy for us, looking at the other FC Cincinnati players that could potentially, I mean, as far as the other guys, right, we'll touch on them in the next, couple weeks as the rosters are announced, but Miles has the best opportunity to play, I would say.
Yeah, no, you're right. Because Buka, likely will make it at least to like the camp.
Yeah.
Maybe Ramirez makes it as well to Ecuador's. And then I think Roman's played his way out of it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's not even necessarily
giving up 5, giving up
not necessarily all on
more.
him, right?
Yeah.
But he's had some great moments and some pretty not good moments too. So
yeah,
I think he's played out of that. Maybe Chris Brady is playing his way more into that. Definitely not the guy up north in Columbus. Sam, we see Neymar. He was selected to the Brazilian national team, so future FC Cincinnati player there. We'll see. But he gets selected, out of 26 players again, that they had to pick from, and thousands of amazing Brazilian professional players. Obviously, he's a legend, but to still make it, there was some pretty interesting people that got left off for Brazil too. But as me and you were texting, just having the locker room presence, I think is why Neymar's there. He's had experience in big time tournaments. Maybe he can do something late on in matches potentially. But what does that look like coming out of the World Cup and what he wants to do? Yet to be seen, obviously, but could be something to look out for there. FC Cincinnati too, Sam will roll on into it. They lost 2 matches this week, unfortunately. Pretty bad ones, too. 4-0 to Huntsville.
They didn't give up 8 goals, though.
Yeah, they gave up 7, but not 8. Not like the first team. 3-1 loss to Chattanooga. And then we see Felix Sampson gets his first next pro goal, a defender, actually. So the only goal of the week came from a center back. Their next match is going to be on May 23rd against NYCFC 2's team. And they're going to play through the World Cup. So as we shouted out, I think in a prior episode, go check these guys out playing down at NKU. If you're watching the World Cup, want to, go and see some local talent, some young guys play, you want to see live soccer.
Yeah.
Hopefully better than this week.
Yeah. Like Ryan said, I think they have about 4 or 5 home matches over the course of the World Cup break. So these games are free. Go support FCC2. I know Ryan and I potentially might make our way down there, especially if we're itching for, something FC Cincinnati, and to see who's up and coming, because we've seen 2 guys already this year get, first team contracts. So could potentially see, some other guys in the making the next couple years. But Ryan, around the MLS, I think the FC Cincinnati card? The honorable card. I think FC Cincinnati fans want to hear us talk about this. It's sad. It's sad news. The Columbus Crew fired their head coach after 14 games. I mean, nobody saw this coming, right? I think the regime just wasn't cutting it to begin with. Where are they sitting right now? Is it 13th, 14th?
Yeah, 13 or 14, I believe, in the East. So Not good. Not good up north. I actually think this is bad for us because I kind of like the fact that they weren't obviously doing well, and their coach, none of the players apparently liked this guy, from all that we were hearing. And he was, brought in to do something very similar to Nance and just completely kind of went his own direction and didn't work out, obviously, for them. I just saw actually recently before we started recording, Sam, that Darlington Nagby is going to be added on as an assistant coach under their interim manager, Laurent Courtois, who actually was with the Crew before, went to Montreal for a short stint, got fired, came back to the Crew. So they're going to give him a run. If everyone is thinking, oh, Wilfred Nance, right? Bring him back. But apparently he's got aspirations to stay overseas. So at least for the time being, he is not being considered for that. We'll see what this looks like, Sam, because one of the first matches out of the World Cup break, the second one, is against
the
Columbus Crew. So we'll see what that looks like, coming out of the break for both teams. And for them, they have one more match before this as well. Interesting times there. FC Dallas, they have a nice comeback against San Jose to give San Jose 2 straight losses after they had been pretty dominant out west. Hani Mukhtar hands LAFC 3 straight losses with a hat trick. Nashville has just stayed, unbelievable. Actually, they've been really solid outside of their run in Champions Cup too. And then the Revs, they win again, a surprising team, I would say, just as much as San Jose in their run this year with a new manager, Sam. It's been pretty impressive for them.
Yeah, 1 goal again. Once again, Pat Noonan formula for them. But I mean, Ryan, around the MLS, not bad. There's still a lot of parity going on. I think in the East, I think you saw a lot of draws this weekend specifically, which was kind of crazy. And then the West, it's win-loss.
There was no draws last year, almost none. It was kind of crazy. And this year it's all draws. So very fascinating there. The last several weeks to see us, Charlotte, DC, Red Bulls, New York,
all just floating in the middle,
flip-flopped, right? Yeah. And top 4 has kind of remained very similar. I feel like the second half of the season might be, much of the same. Nashville's kind of built a little bit of a cushion there, and they can kind of coast through the rest of it. But we'll see what it looks like. I think you're right. I think the West has been so solid this season. So that's been kind of interesting to follow too. But we're going to be playing a team that had been horrible to start the season in Orlando City. They fired their manager early on, but they've had a decent kind of run as of late. They are giving up goals even worse than FC Cincinnati, Sam, in this season. They've had 21 goals for, 38 goals against, where we've had 30 goals for, 35 goals against. So what this is saying is expect a lot of goals once again in this one that we're going to have this coming Saturday, match day 15, 7:30, TQL Stadium. Last time for you guys to see the orange and blue before our World Cup break. Let's leave it all on the pitch. We got to get 3 points in this one. I mean, if you can't beat Orlando right now, what are we doing?
Gotta have it. Their last outing was a draw against Atlanta, so they sit right behind us in the standings in 10th. So once again, could flip-flop there in the East. A lot of teams just going back and forth. But Ryan, to touch on what you were talking about as far as conceding, Orlando is dead last in goals conceded in the MLS and have conceded 2.7 goals per match, which is wow, that's crazy. They're projected to allow 92 goals this season if they continue the way they are, which would smash the goals allowed record at 78. I mean, that would be just insane. I will say FC Cincinnati is allowing almost the same amount because FC Cincinnati is not quite to the 92 goals projected allowed. We are at 83 right now at the end of the season. So
their recent run has been better, though. They've given up 1 goal, 3 goals, 2 goals. So, I mean, as of late, they've got some players back from injury. So I think that's definitely helped, as of the last few. But no, that's a crazy stat that they could kind of jump. I think, honestly, we had the worst until San Jose took it over.
Well, so I think we're top 3. I think San Jose and somebody else. Yeah. No, but yes, like you said, we've been jumped the past couple years.
Yeah. Maybe they can knock us down off the top 3 there. But Sam, I was saying this is the last game before the World Cup break. The players, it's kind of cool. I just saw this. The players will have country patches, for the respective countries that they represent or come from in the center, of their jerseys there to kind of commemorate the World Cup. I think they might do something with the numbers as well from what I was seeing and hearing. So that'll be kind of cool. Another opportunity maybe for people to go in to the team store and, maybe get a jersey that has their home country on it. I think that'd be kind of cool to have. Sam, what are we thinking lineup wise for this one?
That's a great question. I mean, based off of what you had seen prior positionally, I think personnel, like you said, you kind of see the same now positionally. Like, would you see Kenji play left wing back again, or do you just slot him back up in the striker position next to Denkey? It just seems like that would happen. I think ultimately, Ryan, I think you can rule out Miles Robinson even being in the 18 for this one, in my opinion. I think him coming out with a knock in the 45th minute, like just in general, you wouldn't want to maybe see him start, maybe see him like come off the bench in a game like this. But since you have the World Cup coming up, I don't think you even see him touch the pitch at all, just to conserve him for the World Cup and hopefully Poch's squad. But
more money down the drain, man. Again, it's crazy. Like you're paying a boatload of money to not
former
play.
Captain, right? Coming into this season.
What's the amount of money that's off the pitch with him and Hidebe right now in the center back room?
Oh
but honestly, it's just been consistency that hasn't been there. Go and look at the rotation of the back line in the last 5 matches. It's been different people every single time. So it's going to be a new one again tonight or on Saturday. So is Sharilla back healthy? Is he going to be back in there? Or is it going to be like a Kyle Smith again? Or is it going to be Guidi? Like there's no way to predict, as of late what it's going to be. But I think you hit it with the point of Kenji. Kenji's got to stay on the pitch. Dado's got to stay on the pitch.
Yeah.
Some sort of rotation around them. Potentially, I think Ramirez probably slots back in. I think Dado back to the 8. And I think Kenji back up top, I think is honestly how it goes.
Yeah. I just wasn't sure where they'd go, especially Barlow coming off a brace, right? Do you go with the hot hand as well? But Kenji also coming, off the goal. Well, yeah. Well, so does that take a guy like Dado off the pitch, right? To put Barlow up top, a more, I guess number 9, right? Dado is more of a 10, right? So
yeah, but I think the reason they pushed Dado up was to get Anunga back.
No, yeah.
I don't think that necessarily that's what changes, but I think Orlando, like their offense has been pretty solid. So clearly we need to control, a little bit of things in the midfield there. I was just looking though, if you guys are looking at, hey, what are our predictions going to be? Well, if you didn't know or didn't pay attention, Orlando has just killed us at home as of the last several seasons, Sam. I don't know if you realize this or not. Last season, we drew 1-1. Year before that, we lost 3-1. Year before that, we lost 1-0. And then, so the last time we've won at home against Orlando was June 24th of 2022. That's 4 seasons before we've had a win at home against this team, but it's a completely different feel in this one, different manager. They've not had a good season. I'm feeling a little bit more positive. I'm going to go with a 3-2 victory because goals.
Yeah. For me, Ryan, I think what you just said there was 2 years ago, loss, last year draw. So, I mean, got to be a win, right? To balance it out. So for me, I think this feels like a similar match to the Red Bulls match, right? To where, coming into the Red Bulls match, we had lost to them previously 4-2. And you were like, whew, like coming into this match, are we going to be able to do anything at home? And
it was going to be the same setup of a lot of goals, right?
Yep, exactly. And so to me, I think I'm going to go with a similar scoreline to that one. I'm going to go 2-0. I think, which is crazy right now, the form that we're on, the goals that we're conceding.
Sam's going to go clean sheet.
I'm going to go clean sheet because I think this team wants to send a message going into the World Cup, and you can't. I mean, the quality at the top half of the pitch has been insane, right? So I think you see Denkey, you see Evander continue to stay hot, and maybe even a guy like Matt Miazga and Nick Hagglund, step up. Specifically, Nick Hagglund in the back line, I think, kind of asserts himself in this one. But yeah, I'm gonna go 2-0. Don't feel like too great about it, but the I don't know. The positivity in me wants to see like a good result before we go into the World Cup. So that way you kind of go into that summer window going, hey, like we've got some things to build off here. Like maybe the defense isn't all terrible.
Yeah, I mean, just don't hold back. Like, why not go for it in this last one before the break? I talked about how close teams are in 5 through 9, and if you can get a win in this one and maybe some favorable results,
every point counts. Every point counts.
I mean, Sam, you could put yourself in 5th place potentially, coming out of this match. So that looks a lot better than on the border, of the playoff line. So go for it. Put everything you got into this match. That's my message. If you're Pat Noonan to the team, is go leave it all on the pitch. Show me what you got. Rewrite what this whole beginning of the season has been. And yeah, I feel like being at home, we've had a pretty decent run. Obviously the last match was not that way, but prior to that, we had been doing pretty solid there. So I feel confident in at least grinding a result out and kind of reshaping what this looks like to move forward. But hey, man, I'm not expecting, I don't know. It's going to be theatrics. Let's just say that. It's going to be chaos. That's just what it's been. So, Sam, let's hear your trivia answer for this week.
Yeah, so to reiterate again, trivia of the week presented by Goals TV was how many goals has FC Cincinnati given up past the 90th minute in all competitions this season? Ryan, I believe you said 5, right? The answer is 3. 3, wow, including this game against San Diego, the first one being against Tigres, bad taste in our mouth. And then kind of the game that I just touched on, New York Red Bulls. We, on the breakaway goal there, in the 90 plus whatever minute, New York Red Bulls gets one late. And so you end up having 3 so far this season, Ryan. I think when I was looking back through each match, FC Cincinnati, I think, has conceded maybe 2 or 3, I want to say 2 times at the 89th minute this season. So 1 minute off, and we would have had 5 goals conceded past, 90 plus.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at, we've had 7, right? Past 90.
Oh, like 4?
4, us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Late game stuff. Like if you guys want to just tune into the match, maybe about 90th minute, you might see some fireworks there. Don't turn your TV off because you might miss a crazy ending, for another match. But thanks again for joining us for this one. Before we go, we just wanted to say thanks again for following us, supporting us first part of the season. It's been, a rough go at times. It's been a chaotic go at times, but we're still in a good spot, I feel like, to where we can do some things.
It's been entertaining.
It's definitely been entertaining. That is true. So be on the lookout that we're going to have for some World Cup content. If you guys want to see us do anything, talk about anything, we're going to have some guests on as well to chat everything, U.S. soccer and World Cup in general. So let us know what your guys' thoughts are. And we might have some interactive things for the fans as well coming up. So we're excited to kind of bring that to light. And thanks again. We'll see you guys hopefully after a positive result this weekend.